Hello and welcome to TechWatch, the EdTech video news program produced by eSchool News. I'm Laura Devaney. A key theme of many EdTech advocates is the need for schools to re-engage today's generation of students. And a big proponent of that idea is Lord David Puttnam of Great Britain, who sat down with eSchool News last year to discuss how today's schools must change for the 21st century. eSchool News managing editor Dennis Pierce has the report.
As a filmmaker, Lord David Puttnam has made several highly acclaimed films, including The Mission, The Killing Fields, and Chariots of Fire. He's the only non-American to lead a major Hollywood studio, having run Columbia Pictures in the 1980s. I asked Lord Puttnam what he believes education could learn from the entertainment industry.
I think probably the most important thing is who its audience is. I mean, you know, I was sometimes accused of making slightly high-minded films, but I always knew that eventually I'd have to find an audience with them. And so you actually tailor your offering to an extent to that audience. One of the reasons I retired from the film industry when I was 55 is because it became increasingly obvious that the film audience was remorselessly sort of 16 to 24, and I was remorselessly getting older, and the gap between us was not going to diminish. So one of the reasons I was here at the conference is to try and make the point that we've also got to go to where the audience is and what platforms the audience are adjusted to. And I see that as representing much more of an opportunity than a threat. I equally happen to believe that unless we make that shift, then the nature of the threat could come along and overwhelm us, because if we allow a growing disparity between the way in which young people receive information, deal with information in their own time and during their own lives, and the way in which they're expected to do exactly the same thing effectively at school, if that disparity is allowed to grow, it'll turn into a chasm, and sooner or later kids will say, I don't understand this. This has got nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with the way in which I live my life. It's got nothing to do with the way in which I receive information. And worse, it's got nothing to do with the way in which I will continue to live my life once I leave school. So there'll be this, I'm terrified of this discontinuity between the nature of education and the nature of real life.
Lord Puttnam spoke at a pre-conference symposium on using games and simulations to better engage students. His message?
We may be sucking our teeth in the education sector and wishing to kind of pick and choose what we do or don't want to engage with. But the truth is that the Microsofts and the Murdochs and the Googles and the Yahoos of the world, they're moving ahead. And they, in a sense, have captured our children. They have our children. So in a sense, we have to either make common cause with them, or we have to step up to the plate and insist that at least the ethos of learning that educators are adjusted to and educators are comfortable with, becomes the dominant ethos. Otherwise, we're going to effectively surrender even the ethos of learning to commercial enterprises. I don't want to see that happen.
In 1997, Lord Puttnam was invited by the UK to join its education department. In his service to that nation's government, he started a national teaching award system to improve teacher morale and recognize best practices. He's also leading a push to train Britain's teachers in the use of interactive whiteboards.
I'm a huge fan of interactive whiteboards. I think interactive whiteboards are an amazing creation, but there was a sense that interactive whiteboards were being sold literally just shifting boards without any of the requisite or sufficient requisite training to go with the teachers. So what we had was this brilliant platform, potentially brilliant learning platform, but inadequately trained teachers. And again, so I tried to flag that up, and we've been working on ways in which we can address that issue.
eSN TV, your #1 source for video news and information from North America's leading EdTech publications, from the world's foremost EdTech website, the eSchool News Network, America's EdTech authority. Watch eSN TV. Encounter the field's most fascinating personalities, the innovators who are turning the old school into the e-school. Watch eSN TV. Meet notable educators, advocates, and leaders. Watch eSN TV. Get real-time coverage of EdTech's most important gatherings. Stay up to the minute. Get the EdTech news and information you need to succeed. Watch eSchool News TV.